Welcome to the fine print, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Caleb Teskey, live tonight with another fantastic interview, as usual. I'd like to thank everybody who tuned into my interview with Josh Ortiz, man, mom, my sister. That was a killer interview there, talking about breakdancing and ayahuasca. Great stuff, Josh. It was a pleasure to speak to you, buddy. We also got a couple good ones coming up. I got Mark Schwartz from the evidence room on Monday. That should be interesting. Former St. Albans police officer, owner of a pre-roll company here in Vermont now. That's next Monday. And then I got my buddy Rodney Lionheart coming back next Wednesday from Michigan to talk a little bit more about the situation out there. Joining me tonight, however, is a guy that I've been trying to get on the show. I met him a year ago after Nican at the after party at Orlando's, and I've been trying to get him on the show for about a year, and we finally have him here tonight. And let's bring him in. Wham, bam. It's Phil LaCoss from Zen Valley Cannabis here in Morrisville, Newport. Phil, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here. You're muted. You got your mic muted. Your guest has muted themselves. You got to unmute yourself. Phil, what happened here?
I was just so into it. You're captivating. Completely forgot I was muted.
There we go. Hey, thanks for being here. Now I can hear you.
Hey, even though I'm here, I'm still not here, but that's classic, Phil.
Cool. Well, before we get into anything serious, Phil, would you give us a 5-minute life story?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Vermont, born down in Springfield, Vermont. Grew up here in Lamoille County. Went to St. Johnsbury Academy, and I actually my life story, it really starts, I guess, when I was 17, when my first son was born. So after graduation, being a father, I had to figure out what I was going to do to take care of, this baby, who is grown to be a young man now. But so I joined the National Guard because I didn't want to leave my family, but I still wanted to. I always wanted to serve and be a part of that community. So I decided the National Guard was a good way to be able to serve my country and still be around as a father. And over the years, I've had various jobs, but I spent a lot of my time within the Guard doing like active duty operational support, going to schools, and deployments. I've got 2 deployments. I was on the Afghanistan deployment 2009 is when we deployed. That was like that big surge into Afghanistan.
I recall that.
Yeah, just as Iraq was winding down, and that. So that was we didn't realize it at the time. I didn't know it, but that was to be a part of history. It was a big event, which was, I guess, pretty cool looking back to be a part of something that will be read potentially in books one day.
Yeah, might be. You might be right about it.
Who knows? Maybe they'll just try to erase that history. Whatever. but no.
You had a kid when you were 17, man, huh?
Yeah, 17. Yep.
Oh, that's early.
Yeah, it sure is.
Definitely will throw some urgency into your life plans, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, at least I had the wits at that age, as young and dumb as I was at 17. I had the wits enough to know that I needed to do something to provide a future for this new life form.
And I understand you've stolen your son's computer for this interview. Is that right?
Well, no, my laptop, but his computer setup. I'm at his desk with his microphone. Yes. But
tell him I said thank you.
Up with the nice stuff. So. Oh yeah. I didn't tell him. I was like, hey, can I borrow your microphone? I like to ask him like he has a choice, as if I didn't buy it for him anyways. I'm just gonna take it if I need
it. So I'd love to hear more about your military experience, man. Like what you were doing exactly. I don't really I love chopping it up with the vets. We got a lot of vets on. You actually, for such a young guy, I think you're one of the longest serving veterans I've had on the show here.
16 years. Yeah. 16 years. I got 3 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks left. I'm counting down to retirement.
And that's to be an early retirement, man. How old are you now?
34. 34. So,
30,
oh, it'd be what?
so you
Pretty
had a
much
kid, went
38.
right into the military. Wow.
Yeah.
That's such an
It sounds
intense
really good.
like
Oh, sorry, I talked over you there.
go ahead. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying it sounds really good, but it's like a part-time career. So, yeah, I still don't get to collect anything until I'm 65. Like if you're active duty, you can collect on that once you get out, but it'll be nice when I'm 65. I've been working towards that retirement. And yes,
So,
I've had
tell
a
us
lot of experience along the way.
yeah, tell us about Afghanistan, man.
Um, it's a beautiful country. It truly is. And I love to start out with that when people ask me because it takes them by surprise. The country itself is beautiful. The landscape. The best sunsets I ever saw was in Afghanistan, and I got to see a lot of them. Uh,
Awesome.
it would be a great country for tourism if you know the things weren't so crazy.
Damn, I've never heard anyone suggest such a thing. That's wow.
Absolutely. I love, because it snows in Afghanistan, they got some nice mountains. And it'd be great to, I'm a snowboarder, so do some snowboarding. I would go back for sure. If I guess I'd go back under any circumstance, really, if I had to.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be able to like leisure and actually enjoy seeing the countryside. And it's no, we I for being I turned 21 on the way over, and so it's really impacting for the start of my adult life. So you get to learn a lot of things, and with that, you learn that how to find, I guess you could say, the silver lining or the beauty in the worst of things.
Hmm. How long were you over there for?
It was a year.
And what was your what did they got you doing?
So at the time, I joined as a motor operator transportation specialist or a truck driver. That's the fancy term.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I joined up. I was actually with the unit here in Morrisville, Echo Company at the time, FSC. We were a detachment for 3172 infantry battalion. And I ended up being a vehicle gunner. And actually, this is also, I say it's the start of my life, right? It's where I met my future to be wife. Wouldn't have known it at the time though. She was the vehicle driver. I was the gunner. She hated me, and I just loved to annoy her.
Awesome.
Yeah. Um, but I guess we grew on each other during that time. You're in a truck with someone at close quarters for a year at a time, and they grow on you, whether you want them to or not.
Plus, you have a machine gun. You're kind of
Yeah, yeah.
hard to say no to the machine gun.
I had so we have if you ever seen like a turret setup, you get that's
Yeah.
that middle, that bulletproof plate up front. We call it a chicken plate. And one thing to do is you paint your trucks up or stencil something a name. We named our truck the Godfather because we had the platoon commander. So he was the convoy commander. So naturally, and being a Godfather fan, we named the truck the Godfather. So on my chicken plate, I had stenciled on there an offer you can't refuse.
There you go.
Yeah, that was my bit of fun.
I nailed it.
Yeah, and then we put the puppet on the back doors. We were in a Cougar A2. If you ever wanted to look that up
I'm
or see what it was.
I'm assuming it's some kind of military vehicle.
Yeah,
Cougar attitude.
it's an MRAP. Yep, big truck, armor plating, V-hull. Was it mine resistant, ambush protectant?
Watch this, Phil. I don't have Jamie here with me like Joe Rogan, but I do have Bing images. Bang! What do we got?
Oh, there
One
you
of
go.
these.
So you see these two over on the right? Yeah, yep, that one right there. That is
Yeah,
an
boy.
A2. That's just like the one we were in, from what I can see.
Yeah, boy. Those are
That's
those
an
are.
A1. You can tell the difference
Oh,
between the A1 and the A2 because the A1 has a, I think the roof is lower, because if you look at this A1,
oh
there's no
yeah.
space between the roof and the windows, and then you look at the
Ah.
A2 and you got space between those windows and that roof.
Oh, and this is the Danish version. Yeah, we probably got the better ones.
They're all made by the same Lowe's bidder. No, that's great equipment though. It's great. It saves many lives.
Yeah, so you felt safe cruising around in that?
Yeah, as safe as you could. Yeah. So what did we do? Let's get more to it. So as a forward support company, we were supporting our infantry battalion, Alpha Company Bravo Delta Charlie. So beans, bullets, and shit tickets. That's the stuff we're bringing out to the guys out front. So we're moving all around. They need food, water. Some of the things we brought, we kind of questioned if it was worth our life. Uh, we'd be bringing
Doritos,
up, what's that?
Doritos and shit.
Yeah, well, we'd be bringing out like mattresses, like for real. Like they need new fucking mattresses. You're willing to risk like how much money and equipment, because they value that more than the human life.
Yeah, right.
I shouldn't be. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just being a little narcissistic.
Allegedly.
No, but no, it would just laugh. Like, really, we're bringing out paper cups, but these stuff, they need to sustain. So
Sure.
it's for the effort.
So you're like
Um,
you're resupplying people.
Yep,
Yeah.
driving all over our AO of Afghanistan. So we got to see a lot of the countryside. Actually, one spot we'd go to, um, Don Patan, as we'd call it, was right on the Pakistan border. So we we were stationed at Lightning in Gardez, Afghanistan. So I think was Don Patan was, I think, one of our furthest locations we'd go to on the regular. But literally where that cop was set up, you could throw a rock into Pakistan. And it was amazing because there was literally like a line, a natural line. There was desert where we were in Afghanistan, but then Pakistan was green.
Nice.
Um,
I was trying to find a picture of the border there. I'm gonna strike out on the. Oh,
you can definitely Google Earth Gardez, and I can bring you right into Lightning if you want to check it out.
yeah, yeah.
It's changed. It's actually changed a lot. We used to be, when we first got home, and for a few years we could go in and see, like, that was our truck right there. But it's all, they got rid of most of that. But I can get you into the area if you really want.
Let's see. Let's see. I got something here. I figure we have a little fun tonight. Do some.
Yeah, sure.
For people that don't know what the map looks like, including myself sometimes. Bang! Here we are. What do we
You'd
got?
have made a good lieutenant.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I'm not the map guy. I'm the.
So, do you have a satellite view?
Let's see.
Satellite view.
Satellite view. Whoa. That's not me. That's the location. Whoa, fuck. That's Morrisville. All right. I fucked up.
Nah, you're just figuring it out.
Yeah, let's go.
I put you on the spot. I don't know if you do this often.
No, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna start over, and then here, this will be good, and then bam, we'll go back, and now we're at Gardez. There's the roundabout in downtown.
There's a few of them. They got the traffic down, man. They got everywhere you go, it's roundabouts.
So how do I change the view to the satellite view?
So is this Google Earth?
I don't. Oh, this is Google Maps. Oh, Google
Okay.
Earth.
Well,
Google
Google
Earth.
Maps should do it too. There's usually
Yeah, I thought there was like a
a
little view.
layers, like a layer selection. What's that one on the bottom? No,
What's
nothing on
the
the lower left. Oh, right up there where it says road up top.
road? Okay, aerial hybrid. You got
Uh, do a do the hybrid. I think that will give me road names. It might help me
jeez.
follow in.
Whoa.
There we go. So,
So you're in the mountains there, or close to. There's some
oh yeah,
mountains.
yeah, yeah, yep,
Let's see. Okay, so there's Cobble up there.
yep. So,
Bam.
and we would do clips up to Kabul and up to
Oh, is
Bagram Air Base.
this is the Pakistan border here? This white line.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you're right there. Bang. All right. I'm learning geography as we go. There we go. Now I can see it. All right. Is this a bad place in Afghanistan? Where I've heard of some pretty gnarly
Yeah.
places. Korangal Valley.
It's a pretty hot spot. It's a hot spot. You're right on the Pakistan border. You're in the mountains, and that is how the Taliban are shuffling in at night.
Oh, damn. That's not
That's how
good.
they. Yeah, that's their passage. That's why we're there. Really. Um.
Bang. All right. Stop sharing. Bang. Sorry, I was fucking up my screen. Cool. All right. We made it. It took a little
Yeah.
effort, but
But
people are gonna think I'm dumb for that. That's okay. I should know that.
Hit points go up on Google Earth. Like, why is there so much influx?
Cool. So, and what you said, you also went somewhere else, Iraq or something?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been to Iraq, and during I say unfortunately, I didn't go during the height of Iraq. I went 2018. So this is after Taliban. Now we've gone back in. You got ISIS, and I think they pretty much beat ISIS back out of Iraq. But they're a huge problem in Syria. So I was in Iraq for a bit, and then I ended up on the Syrian border
Oh.
for six. I was in Iraq for 4 months, and then Syria for 6 months.
Hmm.
And so with that particular deployment, I was with our Charlie company, Medevac guys here out of Burlington, Vermont. They're actually currently deployed. I did try. I wanted to go with them this time, but it didn't work out. It's a great unit, great outfit, and the mission is it's above all else. It's Medevac.
You still
So
trying to go back again? You were still down.
I was, and I think that was potentially the last time that I'd actually actively try, because there's just so much more to think about. Still, I've got an 8-year-old as well. My oldest is 16. So with all the time I've had away, it's trying to stay home. So maybe I can make it through these next 4 years without a deployment, but we'll see. I'm definitely not putting my head out anymore.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I'm working on my retirement plan.
Good. Hey. Good. Get it. So you come back. You said you were in Iraq in 2018, and I was trying to transition to the CBD company, which I believe was 2019, if I did my homework right. So you come home after your deployment. Tell me sort of how you got this idea to start a CBD company.
So to be honest, the idea wasn't actually mine. Yeah. It
Phil.
I was I mean the story I always like telling the story because I thought it was a good, how to come to fruition story, or how we came to exist. Um I was on leave, and I was remodeling my garage, rebuilding it, and a friend of mine uh came by and was like, "Hey, if you wanted to do this, we could do it here in your garage." I was like, "Oh, okay, think about it, whatever, the whole thing." And I was actually I ended up being on orders again, so I was working full time in the guard as well while we started this up. And so I said, "Yeah." It started up to do extraction, because that was also the time where 2019, the big talk was how much hemp there was, how much CBD, and there just wasn't enough extraction. So I mean, that's truly how, the reason behind it. And it didn't unfortunately work out with the partner at the time. Um, but things had to keep moving, and so I ended up going ahead. Yeah, and we had talked about eventually having a product line with it because when we started, it was Lamoille Valley Extraction Solutions. Um, and that's how it turned into the DBA for Zen Valley CBD at the time. We were doing products. I started doing products, started doing oil as well, and just kind of grew from there. Knowing and then keeping an eye on the talk about the cannabis market for Vermont. Knowing, I always had a passion for cannabis when I was in high school, and kind of had to change directions for a bit. Um, but realized it's I always wanted to do it, so it's a good time. It was an opportunity to get into it. So I mean, that's really how that started up. And I was like, yeah, every great company started out in a garage, So this is it's meant to be. I still haven't got there yet, but we're working on it.
And how did you guys make out in the hemp market?
So I think we were a little too late coming to it, getting into it. Um, it was good. I learned a lot. I was able to learn a lot. I had a really good product, um, CBD product. I did full spectrum. And so I was just operating on my own. So I was happy with the growth that I was seeing and what was happening. Um, yeah, I mean it's led me to this point here. So
Mm,
I'd say I did pretty good. I did all
mm.
right.
Yeah, you're still kicking it.
Fair, fair.
A lot of people lost their fucking shirts in the hemp market.
I was reading some things. Yeah, a lot of tragic stories. They
Mhm.
were losing more than shirts over it.
The
Yeah,
pants too, the
on a national
shoes,
level, it
the
was
farm.
very upsetting. Yeah.
Mm. And so now here we are 4 years later, and you guys decide to move over to the adult use market.
Yeah. So again, monitoring that coming around and making that decision. Is it something um, you know, we can do, you know, financially? Does it make does it really make sense? And of course, it was like a brief question. Yes, this is what I want to do. At that time I was by myself. And that's really around the time Sean approached me, my
Hey.
brother-in-law or
Oh,
future brother-in-law.
oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a family tie. Okay, great.
Yep, yep.
I was hoping you'd
So
give us a little talk about Sean since he couldn't make it tonight.
yeah. Yep.
Please.
So yeah, so that's when Sean approached me because he wanted to grow as well. He's always grown himself, and it made sense to bring somebody else in. I really didn't want to just because partner didn't work out previously, especially being family. It's hard, so it's we have to make set those ground rules of business versus family, and it made sense because then he could take care of the cultivation side of it and primarily, be the lead cultivator. And I could worry about the administrative side of things, which really makes more sense with my current schedule.
Yeah, and it also seems like I've seen a lot of people sort of structure their business like that because, just yeah, I feel like a lot of people maybe overlooked the amount of stuff you have to do other than just grow the plants.
Yes, that's a lot of it. That's the big portion. That's the meat and potatoes if anything's going to exist, right? And it's the funnest part.
True,
the,
true.
the cultivating, the
But
growing.
without all that back end stuff, you can't
You're
get rid
Yeah.
of
As
it.
far as the legal market goes, you're not gonna be there.
So, tell me, what kind of license you guys got, Phil?
So we are tier one mixed.
Tier one mix.
Yep.
Cool. And so you're doing a little indoor, a little outdoor. What's the what it's like 1,000 square feet of indoor, and then you
Yep.
get
1,000 square feet canopy indoor.
125 outdoor
Yep.
plants?
Yep. Exactly.
Cool. Where how did you guys find locations for this?
So we are home based. That's we. that's what we ended up going with. It made the most sense. We funded this completely out of pocket. So whatever we've had in savings, whatever I make on a weekly basis at my full-time job, that's what's going into funding this. Um, I should shout out my wife did give me $6,000 at the beginning
Good
with
call.
CBD, so I still owe her for that investment too.
Good shout out there, Phil.
Yeah, yeah. um, so yeah, just personally financed. Um, so to reduce those costs, it makes sense that we be home based and work out of the basement for now,
Cool. And
out of
and
grow
what
tents.
and what about the outdoor? What are you doing?
The outdoor, yep,
Yeah,
we've got an outdoor going,
cool.
um, and yeah, and that's again. So like we were saying, it's kind of weird, right? We're in Morrisville, but we're also Newport. So the
Sure.
office is here because it's where I live,
Yeah.
and the grow facility is in
Yeah.
Newport.
Yeah, you're not alone there. Plenty of people doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Mm. And so you're doing this at home, so you didn't have to build out anything, or maybe you built out your basement a little bit, but I'm sure it seems like the biggest expense that I've seen is people trying to build a facility that shit can run
Yeah.
you. I've seen it running into the seven figures here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A building is going to be expensive, um, you know, and because running numbers on this, looking at too, and it makes sense, right? Um, you need the space to grow, so you need the building, but you also need to make sure that that space you have available, you're going to be able to produce enough to cover that overhead, especially in the beginning. If you don't have a bunch of financial backing or capital to cover that in the interim. Um, So, not being there is ready for that just yet. Almost, hopefully. Starting out in the basement, starting small, and slowly growing with as we build that capital.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's another thing that we talked about on the phone a little bit that has been a big issue is that access to capital. People can't get loans or
Mhm.
financing through the traditional means of any other business, and a lot of people bootstrapping this, man.
Yeah,
Sounds oh yeah.
I know that there's people you can get loans, right? But they're going to be much more costly. So I don't think it's a smart decision for us at our level. Um, Yeah, everyone decides which way they wanna go. Yeah, it's nice to have that type of a capital where if things kinda that first run, screws up and you have to throw it out, you can just keep shoveling money into it and, keep putting fuel in the carburetor until it starts up.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I've seen like, I know this is something you said you didn't want to talk a ton about, but I've seen some of these big MSOs really just piling a ton of money into companies that have not been
Mhm.
super successful. I know Canopy is one that's looking like it's on the verge of tanking right now. We've seen Curaleaf pulling out of a lot of states out west,
Yep.
just trying to enter a market maybe where they have no presence, and it's not working out quite as well as they had hoped with all that upfront investment.
Yeah, and, I wonder too, like, what is the cause of all that? I think there's been other factors with Curaleaf where we read things because 'cause they're big companies, right? And it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's corporate owned.
Curaleaf has a
There's no
lot of
passion in what they're doing, it's all about the numbers, which makes sense from, a corporate level, um, but it does have an effect for smaller growers as well, just trying to make it work, competing with these big companies that just have money to pump into it.
mm. Yeah, and it seems like in a lot of industries that's like it's an advantage. You can crank the money in and figure it out after. But it almost feels like these guys have cranked the money in and have not figured it out, and they're gonna just bleed. It's different than making, like I said, it's different than cranking out widgets on a CNC machine here when your product is alive
Right.
and you have to have people that know how to take care of it.
Exactly, exactly. And and that's I mean, that's a good point. If they're pulling out, they're closing shop, are they pulling back to reanalyze their strategies. You know, or they really, yeah, like I said, they're not making money, so now they're just cutting those losses. Then
Right,
there's
nice.
everybody that's been hurt. There's everybody
See this
that's
big
been hurt.
yeah.
Yep.
Also,
Such is the way
also,
of big business and corporations. Corporations can be great. They also have, there's the negative to it, right? There's good and bad to everything. And unfortunately, I think sometimes the negative effects have a much worse um, after effects than the good side. As long as it's
sure.
good, it's good.
Sure. Well, people notice the bad stuff, I think, more than they notice the good. When
Exactly.
things are going good, you don't really pay attention. And then, like, you have someone died at a GTI factory last week, and it's like, oh, shit. Like, wow. Suddenly you look at this and, like, everything's a problem. Like, it's sometimes, and it sucks that sometimes it takes shit like that for people to, like, pay attention. Like, oh, shit, maybe this company is being run by people that don't give a shit about their employees or the product or whatever it is.
Yeah, don't care about the product.
Sure. Or their employees. You gotta be nice to your employees too.
You gotta have a passion for what you're doing,
Sure.
and not to say the employees don't have a passion for it,
Oh, a lot of
but
them do. I've talked to a lot of them.
exactly, they do, but
Hey,
the
can I
ones
interrupt?
running it.
I got a
What's that?
question. I got a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
We got Nick Smith from Emerald Visions. He says, "Hey Caleb, how does Phil feel about tier 5 cultivators?" Thanks for the
So,
question, Nick.
yeah, how do I feel about tier 5 cultivators? Well, they're really intimidating right now. I do hope to one day be at a tier 5, um, because if you're in business, you do wanna grow business. So, I mean, I don't have anything against tier 5 cultivators or, other than the fact that, it's just competitive, but that's business. Business is competitive.
Mhm. Thanks for chiming in there, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for the question. That's a great question.
Yep, Nick likes to ask that question, and I'm always curious to hear what people. I've heard a wide range of opinions on that one, which is super interesting to see after like 150 fucking interviews here
I
with
mean, if I could get rid of tier 5, I would until I was ready for it.
no shit.
I mean, I most people might feel that way too. I would imagine if you're growing
Hey,
and yeah.
thanks, Phil. You got to thank you.
Oh,
Phil,
you're welcome, Nick.
I appreciate you fucking tuning in here, buddy.
That's awesome. I didn't realize this was live.
Yeah, we're live streaming.
And,
People,
and it says it right up there on the top corner.
yeah, no, I forgot to. This is a new platform for me. Before I wasn't doing any live streaming. It was just the Zoom calls, and I would slap it up later. And now we can.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
we
it's
got.
great.
Yeah, there's this one other asshole who watches all my videos who leaves the dumbest comments, and I never read any of them. And I wish he would fuck off. Southern Vermont grown weed. There's fucking idiot. Fuck off, dude. If you're listening, you're obnoxious, and I can't stand your idiotic comments.
I like idiotic comments. You're gonna have to read one off.
You want me to read one? Here, I'll read it. Oh, passion or money. Dude definitely ain't a cannabis homie. Too many folks in it thinking they will get rich. To the real weed nerds, collab.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
love it. I mean, he makes a great point there. It's evident he's been in the cannabis culture much longer than I am, and that's great. I do have a passion for it, absolutely. Uh,
Yeah, I got that
what's
vibe
better
as
than
well.
making money off your passion?
I can usually tell when you're phony. I didn't get that from you. This dude has told me all
I
kinds of.
I mean, I'm just I am who I am, you know.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for taking that one. I was
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
ignore it, but hey, yeah, there you go. You can rest easy now, motherfucker.
I mean, anybody can, even if someone decides tomorrow they want to start a new hobby and get into cannabis, growing weed.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
and to say that they're fake. I mean, I don't know. They're trying something new.
I do have the option to put user in timeout. I didn't know that was an option because I've never had to police my comment section.
That's
And you got
good.
Sean,
Though.
and you know
That's
what?
good. That means. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm telling you, some of these businesses that are structured this way, you got Sean focusing on the grow, you got someone focusing on the back end shit. Like, I think that is a great way to structure a weed business. I mean, you can't do everything yourself, and it's good. Some people have strengths, and you fill in the weaknesses where other people aren't as strong.
Exactly. You got to build a team. I mean, and again, if you're growing, I maybe if you're growing for the legal market, it comes from a passion, but the reason why you're doing it is to make money. You can't say I'm not doing this
Right,
not to make money because it is costing you or anyone large amounts of money just to grow on the legal market.
right. It's still a
And you can
business, and
still
if you
grow and
make a
not be on the legal
business,
market. What's that?
right, it's still a business, and if you're going to own a
Yeah,
business, I mean, it's got to be profitable to be successful.
exactly. That's the only reason why a business exists is to be profitable.
Mm.
Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
and I can usually there is a lot of people who got into this for just money, and usually you could tell right off the bat because that's all they ever fucking talk about. But then I've definitely heard your side so many times, and at first I almost didn't agree with it, but then I started thinking it's like, yeah, right, it is a business, and you do have to make money. So, like, at some basic level, you do have to care about making money if you want to have a successful
even
business. It's not
even
all
if you're
about
going for
money,
the
but if you can't,
passion, even if you're going, sorry, I get excited and cut people
oh,
off.
you're
I'm
right.
sorry. I mean, even if you're
No, go,
growing
go
for
ahead.
the passion, right? And on the black market, as it would be or gray market, whatever, and you're selling it, there's a reason why you're selling it, and it's to make money.
Yeah, usually that's what I mean, a lot of people just want to help out their friends or like make a little extra, help out their
Yep.
friends.
Oh, you're right. I stand corrected. That's absolutely right. That's another great reason to grow.
Sure, yeah. And hey, I love helping my friends. I also love having a
It's
weed around. So.
I've been able to use it for, yeah. I kick it to my cousin for working on my car. It's a great commodity to trade with. Just the same.
Oh hell yeah, it's great. I'm a big fan of the barter system. Here, let me get a shameless slap up here in the middle. Phil LaCoss, Zen Valley Cannabis. We're chopping it up here tonight. I want to ask you a little bit because you said you started your CBD company to do extractions, and now you got the
Mhm.
cultivation with the adult use license. Is that something you're looking to do here in the adult use market as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I did. We were going for an extraction license as well. Um, 'Cause we're hoping to launch with both, but it just it just made sense to focus on cultivation right now, and not overextend. Um,
Mhm.
that's one area that I know. Um, I've made mistakes early on doing with CBD is overextending in some areas.
So you're
So
dialing it back a little bit here
yep,
after a couple of lessons learned.
absolutely. I mean, if you're
I
not,
think that's
yeah, if you're not learning, what are you doing?
if you're not learning, you're not learning.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that.
But um, yeah, the whole time I thought this said live. I thought you were just being motivational.
Live. I tell all my guests to live for 38 minutes and 48 seconds. Some of them live for 3.5 hours. I gotta tell you, that was too much living for me.
3.5. That's good. That's good. I mean, that's a lot of talking though. That's a long time. I sometimes I watch these podcasts too, or like a Joe Rogan. It like goes 3 hours. Like,
Yeah,
can you imagine
I've
talking
done it.
for 3 hours
Yeah.
and you don't even feel the time? It just goes by.
Hmm.
Like that is a
Sometimes
good conversation. You're having 3 hours. That's a great conversation.
I
Really
mean,
into.
can we do another question from Nick here?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Here we go. Did Phil try to look for investors or is he against them?
Um, well, I haven't actively looked for investors. I am starting to um, consider that, and I think for me, and I know for me, and this is one of those learning things. I haven't actively gone out to seek investors due to my emotional attachment to uh, not more so being able to say I did this myself. But one big thing I learned, and this goes back to when Sean came in. So essentially, Sean was an investor, and that's around the time I learned where um, doing it on your own doesn't mean you're not doing it without a team. Um, what it means is you're making the right decisions. And so I guess the short of that is I'm starting to entertain those conversations with people. But since it's been
Let's see.
all out of pocket this far.
Here we go. Investors suck. Do it slow and steady and own it all yourself.
You're not helping me
Next.
accept the idea of investors.
Well, hey, Nick's been consistent on that one, and hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I can't say I blame him, and he's yeah. I like a
I
guy who's
agree.
not
That's been
afraid to.
my. I don't want to be owned. That's one big thing. I don't want to be owned. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Nor do I want to really owe anybody anymore.
Yeah, right.
That's the
That's
biggest
tricky.
thing.
So it's a little. Let me ask you this: did you have any problems with the flooding recently, Phil?
We did not. Fortunately, we got close. I guess the water was about 20 feet from the field. I didn't have eyes on. I couldn't even get to it. We couldn't get to Newport.
Oh
But we
shit!
were watching it closely. We were nervous. Everything looks good. A few days after the storm, big storm. That warm day we had. Actually, was it last Friday or Saturday? Everything's looking lively. Uh, so I
Good.
am worried, because we keep getting rain, of course. So we've never grown in this field before. So truly knowing how it's going to work for us, we're also learning this season, which is a lot to bank anything on. So my biggest worry is just that drainage from all this water. Everything looks good. It seems to be drying out good. So
Mm.
uh,
Yeah, and
not
it's
too
wild.
worried.
Like my friends in the kingdom earlier sent me. I think it was Ben from Off Piece. He said posted a thing. He's like, we're on flood watch, and we got the air quality alerts coming in from Canada at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
I
here we
was
go.
I was panicking.
Can
I
we?
was like, "What am I gonna? Are we gonna go get a bunch of pots and just repot these and bring them inside? Until the flooding stops." Like that would be. I can't do that, but I just
That's
yeah.
wild. Yeah. Hey, we got apparently Nick's hot tonight. I got another one from
Yeah,
Nick here.
love
How'd
it.
you select your genetics?
So Sean and I will discuss genetics back and forth. We're still truly looking for. We've got some we like. Um, for me, I like to look at the profile, the effects profile. Um, I like to have something that certainly is relaxing. From a personal standpoint, I like something that's going to be relaxing, um, creative, and uplifting. So I try to find something that's going to fall along that. We tend to be leaning towards the fruitier um, terpenes, the fruitier
Hey,
genetics.
that's
um,
my realm right there.
but we're also trying to stay old school as you can. And yeah, 20 what year is it? 2023. Um
Don't ask me, dude.
so right now I'm pretty excited. I wanted uh we got some Acapulco Gold coming indoor that we've been working on. That was me. I wanted that. Like I wanted Acapulco Gold. It's not the original, but yeah, the sentiments there. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we try to one thing what when selecting discussing what genetics are we going to try next is I like to put my ear out and hear what people want, what people are asking for. I start those conversations and just sort of build, I guess a profile of what we're looking for to produce.
Wow, listening to your customers, crazy.
I just that's who we're growing for,
You're
so
a madman,
want to
Phil.
make sure we're giving them what they want.
How dare you? Cool. Thanks again. Boy, Nick. Hey, this is like the first line of questioning I've got from Nick during an interview. All right. I like it.
I don't know if I should be nervous or.
No, Nick's great, man. It's and your weight is looking awesome, Nick. I saw that shit. Ice banana, motherfucker. um, cool. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the application process and
Yeah.
how that went for you guys.
Um, I think it went just about as smooth and quickly as it did for everyone else. It was very frustrating. Uh, it seems like the I mean, we all know it was a trial system. Um, I I feel like it could have been a lot better. Not being in the know and building that program, I can't say for sure. However, I mean, you can see how something's being run and know from experience that things could definitely be better than this. Personally, I feel like the CCB, um, and its good intentions, rushed the launch a little too early. Um,
I do believe I want to give him a little credit here because I believe that date wasn't that set in the legislation? I'd have to go look that
I
up again.
can
I don't want to put
I
that one on
I
them
don't
if
know
it's
all that.
yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna find
Yeah.
that out. Just I'll follow up on that, but yeah, carry on, sir.
I mean, not to say I'm upset that they didn't launch it early, and again, it's a new system to no fault of their own, really. If that they had to meet that deadline, that may very well have been the reason why it was
It was a
delayed.
tight deadline for them. They had less than a year to figure out the whole
Mhm.
thing, and
So
I do agree with you. By the way, I thought like man, like the delay in the licensing really kind of made the outdoor season a little like up in the air, and I don't know if it would have even been possible to push it back, but I think that might have not been a bad idea at the time.
yeah, um, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah, sure. And I again, it was a tight timeline, and that's one thing I really don't fault them for. They were understaffed. They didn't get the resources that they need, and the timeline
Right,
to me was unreasonable on them.
right. And
Mhm.
they were trying to make it happen, and so the effects of that, right? I had no expectation management that it was going to take me, 6 months for the license to actually come through. Um, so it was because of being understaffed. We weren't getting those responses. We didn't know what's going on. And by the time you get a response, it's like you couldn't have told me that a month ago. Um, Sitting on the outside, not truly understanding what's happening and the internal workings of it all.
Mm.
So it was definitely frustrating. Um, the the background check, you did the state one, and then they came back saying, "Oh, hey, you got to have this third party out of state." Well, why are we doing a third party out of state? Is my first question.
Mm.
Um, if it has to be a third party, why can't it be in state and keep that business in state since we can't even move our product across state? Um, but that's a personal opinion. Uh,
Oh, that was I remember when that happened, when everybody got their background checks done, and then suddenly it was like, "Oh, by the way, you gotta go do another one, and it costs $500 or something," and
yeah,
it was a like, kind of last minute, and I know a lot of people were frustrated by that.
yeah, it was certainly nothing that was expected or prepped for.
Huh. Here's
Um,
a good one that I was gonna ask, but Nick beat me to it here. Did Phil use a law firm for your application, or did he do it himself?
no, I did it myself.
Cool.
Which probably made it harder. But and I was thinking I should just get a lawyer to do this. I really don't have the money to do that. If I need to focus it on this. Um, like, is this a smart decision? But then listening to CCB meetings or reading stuff, the lawyers. Oh, listening to people talk like their lawyers did the work, the paperwork, and it was still messed up or not right. So I was like, well, I mean, even the lawyers can't seem to truly figure this out. I didn't feel so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I know, a lot of people that did it themselves, and some of them got, like, some of the first licenses out here, so I mean, it's definitely doable. I don't blame people for that hired a lawyer to do that for them,
No,
but
I it,
I know a lot of people Ben
I
Wilcox
wish I
again, I
not.
think it's yep.
So truly, because I think we what were pre-apps in May or June of last year, and
Oh,
then
you did the prequel?
yeah, we did the pre-app. So whenever or maybe that was February. I forget the timeline.
There we go, Nick
Um,
said, "We
yeah.
did ours ourself, and we
How,
got number
how was the
19."
experience?
Yeah.
Number 18. Nice.
Yeah.
Um, oh, what was it? Oh, yeah, the pre-app. And then we got. I feel like the approval from the pre-app was a lot quicker than anything else. Um, or no, I think maybe that's what it was. We're waiting on the approval, and then we could apply. If I remember everything correctly.
Yeah, it was a while ago,
Um,
sorry to scramble your brain there.
Yeah, so short-term memory too. I've had a few
Well,
concussions,
okay.
TBIs.
Mm.
I just go on living life, man.
But you made it through the application process.
Yep,
Oh boy.
so October is when we actually got licensed, October.
Okay. I got
Um,
another question, but that one's gonna
yeah, yeah.
come for later. I wanted to know, it sounded like maybe product registration was a little bit tricky. I know a lot of people had some issues with that. Was they try to roll
Yeah,
out the new portal?
yeah, there's definitely a delay in that. Um, so our first product and again, before I move on with my anecdote here, it excuse me, sounds like it probably just has something to do with the staffing that they have available. But we put our first product registration in for our first product in early December, late November. Um, and we didn't get an actual registration back on that until mid January. The approval on our product registration. Um,
So at least 6 weeks or so.
yeah, it was at least 6 weeks for that first one.
Has
Which
that process gotten smoother here?
um, the last product we registered was about a month, and that was March, April time frame. Um,
And what's your product line? How many products do you guys have, Phil?
we just right now we just have. Really, we only have two strains on the market. We're doing pre rolls because our grows have been small. It just has made more sense to do the pre rolls. Um, so we've registered. I've read four products. We had two launch in January, and then two in March.
And how about like the testing? Have you had any issues with the lab testing?
Yeah, testing is so. I'm using the same lab that I was using when I was doing CBD, hemp, and I started using them because they were local here in Vermont, and I was using a lab out in California that was known to be one of the best labs. So you were paying for that as well. Then I heard about this lab here in Vermont, great lab, and it was much more economical on the budget. So I started using them, and I think we would get maybe a 10-day turnaround, maybe sooner on test results, full panel, and with the lack of current testing laboratories in Vermont, it's been I think our first one was about 4 or 5 weeks. So you see a difference. The last one I think was about yeah 3 weeks before we got those results back.
Okay.
So it's obviously obvious that they're inundated um, with the volume that's coming in, which is great for them.
Sure.
However, there's also a monopoly on the price, unless there's a cap that the CCB's put on it that I don't know about. Um,
I don't think
one
they
thing I noticed,
I
real
don't
smart,
have the
right?
authority to cap any. I don't think they can
Yeah,
anything like that.
right. Um, but what was I gonna say there? Oh, what? So when you're doing hemp, you do a full panel. I think it was 475, maybe 480, something like that. For a full panel, it was like 5 tests. I forget exactly every one. Um, with the THC regulations, cannabis, there's only 3 tests that you needed. Um, and what I noticed is those 3 tests now cost more than the 5 tests that I needed, and 3 of those tests are of the same 5. So the regulation for if we're working at that changeover from hemp CBD to cannabis and THC products, um, the less testing was required, so they just jacked the price on the few tests that you needed. I was really excited, like, oh, I only need 3 tests. They're gonna be so much more affordable.
Mm.
But no.
Yeah, and you're the first one to point that out, and that was super interesting. And I made a note in here to do to follow up on that because yeah, I
Yeah.
just know
I mean,
I'm
from a
surprised.
business perspective, it makes sense on their part. Well, I no longer, they no longer have to have the cultivators no longer have to have these tests. They have to have these ones, and
Mm,
we don't want to lose money, so
mm.
just raise the price on that test.
Let me get to this. How about this? How does Phil feel about VGA pushing for growers to be required to test for mycotoxins?
I think testing for that is something that should happen. Um, I think testing in general should happen because you want to know what's in the product or not in the product. I guess my question is
Do you worry about?
how would
Mm,
you feel about
sure.
that cost we're going to incur with that?
Yeah, Nick, how do you feel? If you're still listening, buddy, what? Tell us how you feel about that. That's a good. Hey, yeah, because at some point, like I also like wouldn't mind testing for some of those things, but like you said with the cannabis thing, now we're seeing like the fewer tests is costing more money. So like when you just keep adding more, like you're already
Right.
kind of getting a taxed price, and at some point, it's got to be like in Massachusetts. I know we saw this where they just had so much testing requirements that it became just totally like not not affordable for some people.
Right. And so in on that, testing should be required. Absolutely. That's one big part with this with the legal market, right? The regulated market. However, monitoring the cost of those tests to make it feasible and affordable for tier 1 growers. All growers, tier 1.
There, it's going to cost us
Should happen.
all a lot more money.
Exactly.
I think I think it is unnecessary. We already test for pesticides and pathogens.
Right.
All right, cool. See, I'm still figuring this stuff out too. I'm like, I don't exactly know everything you're supposed to test
Mycotoxins was
for.
another test was required with CBD and hemp.
Sure. Oh no shit.
Yep.
Okay. Hmm. Let me ask you this before it scrolls off the page. What is your plan for drying and curing? Do you have a climate controlled building that can fit your entire harvest?
We have a yeah, so we're actually for this is the growing pains, right? And the things that um slow you down doing it in these slow measures as we are. We'll after we harvest our indoor, we are going to break down the tent that we're growing in, and we've already started to actually build a dry room in the basement. So
Cool.
that'll be set up with climate control. Um, and we just won't be able to have an indoor cycle going at that time. So it's going to
Oh
set us
damn.
back. Set us back.
So a little more space indoors might be helpful for you guys if it was available, huh?
Yeah, space is our biggest thing.
Okay. Cool.
Getting
Oh wait. Oh, did you have something else? Yeah, one more here from this fucker. Nick's on fire tonight, making us test
love
for an
it, love it.
additional thing will make it so growers will grow less variety since everyone needs to be tested separately. It's a
That,
great
that's
point there,
that's
Nick.
exactly right. Yeah. One of my questions been in the back of my head this whole time is is there an economist, excuse me, an economist on the board, or is the board talking with economists to see, to really truly, when one side of the scale goes down, the other side goes up.
They did. No one on the board is an economist, but they did. One
Right.
of the consulting firms, Vicente Strategies, had an economist. The guy who made the model for the market analysis. I think his name's Andrew Livingston. Don't quote me on that. It's Andrew something. But
See,
that guy, I
what
believe, had
worries me, what worries me about what you said is the guy. You talked to one economist,
right. And economists are kind of wrong like all the time.
right?
It's
I
like a
mean,
coin when you're talking to these people.
they got people on both sides of whatever the argument is.
Yeah, exactly. Like
No, it's
it's weird
not.
because you could talk to two different economists and get two totally different like
So you got to
analyses of a
talk to a bunch of
situation. Is
economists
what
and get some data, pull data out of that. To
you talk to 100
you're
and
gonna
you
do it
average
right.
out their opinions. Uh, cool. Well, let's see. I want to let's see. How about banking and insurance options? Did you have any trouble dealing with that kind of shit?
Oh yeah.
What? Oh, that's a good place.
So I was working. We were working with It was at VSECU for our bank account. We were on track. I had a meeting, on a Monday. 3 questions. It was a process. I don't know why it took so long. But anyways, last thing, phone call with 3 questions on Monday. Great. Finally check that block. We've got the bank account. We're good to roll. And then it was Sunday evening. I saw the email that VSECU was no longer accepting um, cannabis accounts. Um, without even like an email to anybody in the
Wow.
process at the beforehand, say, "Hey, we can't do this." Like you literally just told me we're finalizing this account on Monday, and now you're saying no more. Like, so
Wow.
that was
So you
rough.
got caught up in that. You got caught up in that weird period where they decided to
Yep,
stop taking accounts.
yep.
Yeah.
Call around to other banks, and anywhere $200 to $2,000 a month they want to just to have the account open. I was like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna have a product here for 6 to 8 months. How am I? I don't have a working capital, right? It's out
All
of
right.
pocket. I
So you got
can't.
to pay
I
this.
can't dish
You got to
seven
pay this
hundred fifty
bank
bucks
fee,
into a bank account every month. Exactly.
right? Before you even got
Just to
product
have
moving,
an
they want
account.
you to pay 'em. That
Like,
that
well,
was
because we
crazy.
gotta.
Go ahead.
I had someone call me what not too long ago, trying a bank I talked to last week. And they're like, "Oh, you ready?" I'm like, "I mean, $750 a month is a lot because you have to scrutinize the account. There's no money in there. What are you scrutinizing?"
Yeah. Great question, Phil. I've tried to get someone from the banks on the show. They don't seem to want to talk to me. I'm so
Um,
friendly though. I don't get it.
I don't
There's
understand. You're a great guy. You're a great guy.
Nick Smith says, "Fuck VSECU."
Every time I've tried to do any work with them, it's just been the worst experience ever. Swear to God.
That's
Um,
unfortunate.
And I was like, I'm never even gonna bother. I've never actually worked with them, but every time I try, I'm not even gonna bother. And for whatever reason, I end up doing it again. But third time's the charm.
Have you tried Vermont
Um,
Federal? They had the lowest rates if you just have a cultivation license.
I haven't talked to them. I guess in the last year, we were rolling with a cash management plan.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you see, you banks, you have the security deposit boxes, and they don't know what's in those. So inherently, they're still, holding cannabis money, cannabis cash again.
I don't think they give a shit. They just wanted to charge you extra because they're banks, and they're like, they don't.
Exactly, they're just capitalizing.
Yeah, they don't care where money comes
You
from.
think
It's a
they're passionate about you and your money? Fuck no.
your money. I think they're very passionate
Well,
about.
very passionate about, yeah, until you don't have any.
And then it's like that South Park episode, and it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry, sir. This line is for bank customers only.
Oh my god, that is so
I
relevant, though.
just deposited $50. Yeah, and that money's gone now.
I love it.
Yep. Phil, I'm getting to the end of my list here.
Okay.
Um, I think that's boy, what's at the end here? I'm pretty introverted, so sometimes you got to ask all these questions to get it out of me. I didn't think so. You seem like a friendly guy to me, dude. Although I do
I
tend to.
prepped for you.
Cool. I hope Sean might listen to this too. Sean, I'd love to get you on here to talk shop about the cultivation. That would be really cool. Let me ask you. Oh, before we get out of here, where could people find your products if they were interested in such a thing, Phil?
Right now we're in higher elevation. We've got last I knew they still had Goodie Bag and some Farm Girl. I haven't actually checked in with them recently, so I don't. If they're sold out, I'm sorry you went looking for it. And we're I know Northeast Cannabis. They did. I could. They sold out of our pre rolls in a week.
Oh, up in St.
I
J.
couldn't- yeah, I thought they were just being nice. And then, 'cause I called them up a week, after, asked them what they thought, how it was going, like, "It's gone." And it's gone. I'm like, "What?"
That's a nice
Um,
problem to have.
not that we had a ton, but I still didn't expect it to go that quick. Um, sorry, higher elevation is right now where the spot. But when we have more, yeah, higher elevation, Northeast Cannabis right now, and then, um we're adding slowly on. We're hoping to have enough to expand to more dispensaries as
Cool.
well.
Are you still doing the CBD at all?
No, I did shut the CBD side of things down with the those new regulations covering full spectrum.
Cool.
I found it didn't seem very cost effective at all,
Mm.
which was too bad. I had a pretty good contract going with an out of state company, a new product that we're making. It was taking off, and it was great to be a part of that. I was manufacturing the product, and so I lost that, and unfortunately, that relationship didn't end well either.
Ah, bummer.
Yeah, so it affected, I'm sure a lot of people.
Mm. Well, boom. One more shameless plug there.
Thank
Phil
you, thank you.
LaCoss, Zen Valley Cannabis. Listen, Phil, at the end of the interview, I always leave the last word for my guests. So if we missed anything that you'd care to mention, or if you got any shameless plugs or shout outs, now is the time. I want to thank you one more time for being here. I'm glad we could finally put this together, man.
Yeah, thanks, Caleb. I'm glad we did it. I had a lot of fun. And it's nice to get out there, I guess, and I guess it's kind of networking. I don't really do networking, like I said. I'm pretty introverted. I'll go to things, and I'm the guy walking around like with his hands in his pocket. Don't talk to me. I'm just checking shit out.
Just passing through.
Just passing through. I find I learn more that way when I listen.
Me too, buddy.
And I'll leave you at that.
Cool. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching. Nick, I'm your host, Caleb Teskey, reminding you that the devil's in the details, and the details are in the fine print. Peace.
One more thing.